Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.
Okay, Talk and Power podcast, episode 116, and we find ourselves in the lovely abode of Jan Becker. Jan, thanks for having us along to the podcast.
Thank you, Nick. It was a pleasure to be involved in the podcast and, of course, promoting our All Four Day, which is coming up on the 3rd of August this year.
Yeah, look, I mean that's why we're here to talk about All Four Day and all things All Four Day. And I'm also joined by Todd Brinkworth. Todd, thanks for coming along this episode as well, a special episode. And
yeah, no worries. I thought I'd come along and say hello. So have a chat about everything All Four Day.
It is great to be here, and look, I urge our listeners, if you're listening to us on 88.5 FM, maybe go back and watch the YouTube video as well. I mean, you get to we're taking in all the sights here of Jan's man cave, as you put it, and it's lovely. And I mean, I could spend hours up here just looking at some of the photos, XYs, a number of GT and the HOs. We'll talk about them shortly, but Jan, tell us a bit about yourself, your love affair with the Blue Oval. How did that all get started?
Okay, back in the early 80s, my younger brother was right into GTs, and I told him off. I thought he was wasting his money, time and money, and gas guzzlers. But after a long while, after repairing all his cars, I started to take an interest in the famous GT Falcons. At the time, I think he had an XT GT. So from that, I got interested, and I bought an XR GT and joined the GT Falcon Club of WA, and been an active member in that club ever since.
It's not just an active member, but I must say you've been the president and the club person of the year for numerous years. So I mean, it's not just it's quite a dedication to the Falcon GT Car Club of Western Australia as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the strongest, still is probably the strongest car club in WA, I think, and it has so many facets to it. So I took an active part. I was happy to be president for a while, but always, even after that stint, active in the social side and judging. We went on to do judging for the nationals, and along comes the All Four Day, which was on every 2 years. Quite a few of us formed a strong committee with the Mustang Owners Club. And that was all part of the whole scenario of being involved with the famous Fords.
Well, before we get stuck into All Four Day, let's have a quick chat about your own collection of some of these cars and some of the cars you've had over the years. You've actually had to make a list here. For those watching the video,
he's going to the list.
There is a notebook here with numerous vehicles on there. So yeah, talk us through some of those cars.
Okay, so just back to when I was telling my brother off and telling him he's wasting his money, there's me. I went out and bought an XR GT, which of course the 289 XR GT was pretty famous, even though it only had the one colour, GT Gold. So that's when I joined the club, and I had a great amount of fun with that car, but soon discovered, well, there's probably time to get something else a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. So XWGT was the next one, in a Grecian Gold, which I really fancied. It was another very fine car, well put together, I thought. And we had that for a few years, even moved to Karratha with the GT Falcon, which I believe in our cyclone-proof carport. In those days, people didn't take too much notice. That was the mid-80s. It grew from there. We did the stint in Karratha with this car, and then sold that one, and then I got another gold one, and then went on to get a green one. I think it was a colour thing. They just sort of come along. But the one then, I think I was starting to get more interested in restoring these lovely cars. which took quite a bit of skill and quite a bit of money. So when one of the club members, a friend, offered me a Phase 3 GTHO Monza Green, which is a well-known car, no longer in WA, I set about restoring that car, 2 years' work, and took it to many shows, took out a lot of trophies, and then finally the big one, taking it to the Brisbane Nationals, taking out second prize, the Alan Moffat Trophy, which was probably the greatest achievement. And then stupidly after that, I sold it. I thought, yeah, enough of this concourse GTs. It's all about show, and not drive. So I let it go at that stage, not knowing of the high value they are today.
Mm. Tell us a bit about that car, because that's this car that you showed us here before on this brochure. And for those watching the YouTube channel as well, go and have a look at that, and you can see a picture of the car there. Magnificent example of an XY GTH show. How long was that in the build then?
That one was two years we took on it, and it was at that stage there wasn't too many competitors in WA. There was a lot more in the eastern states. So taking it to Brisbane, taking it to the show there, I thought, well, I think there was more than 20 Phase 3s competing at the Brisbane Nationals, and I didn't think we stood much of a chance, because for the days preceding the actual trophy exam, the judging and everything, that it was so long drawn out, and I was quite shocked when they announced that I'd got second prize for that car, because they were fairly. They had to really meet pretty contingent, very high standard, and the little WA boy did a good job after all. I thought, well, better than I thought. I think I underestimated, but anyway.
Do you think in Western Australia, sorry to cut you off there, but do you think in Western Australia we do have the skills and the talent to be building? We have produced a number of Phase 3s over the year, and it seems to be, per capita, we probably produce, or restore, probably some of the best in Australia. That's just my view on it anyway. Would I be correct in thinking that?
Definitely. Our club, I think after this time, I think early days there wasn't too many people following the concourse thing, but after that Brisbane, or just during that Brisbane, there was Nationals, it was drawing a lot more attention, and our club was inspiring more people to restore. They were starting to see the value in the cars, it was worth spending money, and they were starting to get to that stage where they were worth more than $100,000, believe it or not. So, the ones that preceded that were even higher quality and took out first. Some of our members have got many trophies, I'll say, for the GTs, because we have a couple of professional restorers here in WA that and do judging as well, so their experience and knowledge has gained them that acumen that speaks for itself.
Jan, tell us a bit then. You mentioned the car club, the Falcon GT Car Club of Western Australia. You've been actively involved in that club for many years now. In today's society, tell us how important are car clubs in 2021?
Okay, that's probably an easy one. I think the fact that the value of these classic cars have risen far more than anybody ever imagined, and I think the parts suppliers, like some of the really well-known parts suppliers, Subaru and GT Performance and all these other ones, Rare Spares, I'm trying to think, GT Reproduction Parts. It's become a big industry with support, so why wouldn't you spend time and money on such a prestigious car and bring the value up and compete? So I think our club started to stand out as having high quality cars, which I think in the early days was well, they were a bit average. We used them and abused them. We had a lot of fun, but now we were entering into an era where the cars had to be locked up and preserved.
Yep. Yeah, no, certainly, I certainly agree, and I know that in 2021, you're 100% right. These cars need to be protected as best as possible. But I was more curious to know, like, the importance of car clubs. My problem is I see an aging demographic in the car club scene. That's my issue, and I'd love to see the younger demographic start coming into these car clubs. But I guess that's probably, something that you and I are certainly not going to be able to fix tonight. That's for sure.
Absolutely, I agree. We were all a bit concerned about whether they'd die out, where the young ones are really looking at turbos and more modern, faster cars, not ones that shake, rattle and roll. And I think our membership went down a little bit, but I have to say some recent events have supported our membership again. The Department of Transport have now got a new classification, 4C4, that a lot of people are aware of, that inspires people with cars, any car pre-1990, to get this special concession where they can use this car, have a reduction in their licence fee, which is attractive. And the most important thing is they have to join a nominated car club, which is part of the association, and be in that car club for at least 6 months. So I think we're starting to get more people now, and some younger ones, which we wanted to see get actively involved. So we're hoping that's going to carry on a bit longer than we thought.
I certainly think so. I do agree with you there. I think that's going to inhibit some new blood into these car clubs, that's for sure.
Well, I'm going to say you're definitely probably speaking as a slightly younger generation in the room. Sorry, guys, but the truth. It's good. A lot of my mates now are actively wanting to get into seeing stuff like that. And I know a lot of my mates that can afford some classic cars like these and would rather own a classic GT or I hate to say F-150 or something, and love to show them off. They're not out there wrecking them. They're actually doing the work to them. So it's good to see. So
yeah. Well, look, you know what, Todd? I think it's time we take a short break here for on 88.5 FM and on the podcast. We'll be back with more with Jan Becker right after this. All right, episode 116 of the Talk and Power podcast, and we are joined with Jan Becker. We're at his lovely abode here. So thanks for having us, Jan. If you're listening to us on 88.5 FM, this is a bit of a preview to the All Ford Day. I'm also joined by Todd Brinkworth, our co-host. So thanks for coming along to this episode. Todd, it's great to have you along as well.
Someone had to call in for Simon. I'm going to shout out to Simon, who's our other resident Ford person, and was unavailable. So,
he's on children duty tonight.
Yes.
He's elbows deep in looking up.
And we know he'll listen. So, hello, Simon. We're doing the best we can for you and talking all things Ford. So, don't worry. We're holding the fort down. We're holding the fort down. There you go.
Good play on words, Todd. Hey, Jan, let's talk about All Ford Day now. All Ford Day it's a combination of two car clubs coming together. It's the Falcon GT Car Club and the Mustang Owners Car Club of Western Australia coming together and putting on All Ford Day. This show started, I didn't realise, but started back in 1984, so it goes back a fair way. Tell us a bit about how these two car clubs came together back in 1984 to kick off the inaugural All Ford Day, which was at Subiaco Oval, which is that's incredible.
Correct. And it first started obviously without me. Some of the original members came together and thought to put on a good car show, you need some strong supporters, and for one. Small clubs like the GT Club at the start, whether they were the first to inspire, but having a close relationship with the Mustang Car Club, they soon got together, and I joined them not long after that, as they were looking for people to support this big all-four day. I could see a great future in these all-four-day shows, which were so beneficial to members and families and everybody to who wanted to enjoy seeing and may actually get involved in the clubs as well. So that, I think, Leaderville was the next one where we displayed our cars, and I joined them then. I think I had a GT Falcon at the Leaderville Club, if memory serves me correct. So there was a strong bond between the two clubs, and we shared responsibilities equally, took on all the tasks, and to this day, I have to say, even more importantly, right now with this 2021, and even with the COVID thing, we have a very strong committee of 5 Mustang and 5 GT, always equal, taking on the responsibilities, and the sponsors that we have, they've all been already supportive, and we've already got quite a high number of entrants. I'm not sure the exact number, but they're rolling in every day. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, the 3rd of October is going to be probably the best and biggest one.
I wanted to say something here. Stability is one of the key things. I know ever since I've been going to all 4 day. You know, it's every second year. You know, it's in October, and with respect, you know, it's pretty much going to be a Bassendean Oval. Or for those that are listening at home, it's called Still Blue Oval now. But for those waffle supporters that used to go a lot on the waffle back in the 80s, like me, we used to call it Bassendean Oval back in the day. But you know, that's my point is that it's a stable. It's every second year, and then in the alternate year you have the cruise as well. Tell us a bit about how hard that is to do that in these days, to just keep producing a show of this level regularly every 2 years.
Yeah, well, again, because we've had such strong members with a lot of knowledge, and the same, I might add, there's still oldies like me from way back. I think we've established basically a portfolio or a procedure of how. So every time we come together, we start in about June of each year, and everything's already laid out. Who to contact, what's going to happen, have you checked that? Everybody's got their tasks to carry out, and amazingly it comes together. And dealing with Bassendean Shire and everybody, they're all fairly supportive. And I might add, it's getting harder to find a venue as good, locally located. And Bassendean Oval has been around a long time. People love it, whereas we haven't had such great success with other ovals who prefer not to have cars roaring across their green grass, especially before the football season.
Look, I think that's a discussion for another day that I'm actually really strong about. But anyway, I won't get into that. I won't get into that here on this podcast. Just getting back to Bassendean Oval, I mean, that's, you know, when I was a little kid, Bassendean used to be like a remote suburb, but now Bassendean's really, and it's almost an inner suburb of Perth now. It's really close. And it is, when you say like convenient, it's close, there's plenty of parking around the outside, getting in, getting out is really easy, and it's a lovely oval with plenty of shade for those that want to go in the stands and just get some shade, because generally speaking it can be quite warm in October, not always, but it can be. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a lovely venue. So hats off to the people at the Shire or the City of Bassendean, and for those that make that happen, because I think that's, in 2021, when you can secure a footy oval to put on a car show, I think that's a feat in itself, really.
Yeah, definitely. We've tried some different ovals before, and they didn't quite work out, and I think we lost a bit of supporters So as soon as you mention Bassendean, they all come flying back. It's great. I hope it continues.
Yeah, no, certainly. Give us a rough idea, Jan, of the size of the show itself, like in terms of entrants, exhibitors, just some numbers there if you have them.
We generally get 500 entrants, actual car entrants.
Yeah, I was just curious. I know the numbers are quite high, aren't they?
Quite high, yeah. And the patronage, we used to say 12,000 people. Not sure if the numbers, it's always... they get the tickets, but we never seem to have the correlation of the tickets. But the crowds just pour in, and with especially the families, we used to offer a lot of other activities, even for the children who may not necessarily be interested in the cars, but we try and make it a good, fun family day. And we're the other thing, if I can add, is we're constantly trying to add a little bit different show things to see, as in apart from genuine concourse cars, of course, and our club cars and everything, some of the high performance, anything from drag cars to we've had rods, hot rods, muscle, and particularly now with the supercar, the V8s.
Yep.
And we've got Warrior Racing, of course, this year.
Yep.
So we've tried to pull in people that other fans would love to see them display and be able to talk to them and actually view the cars that are involved.
Yeah. I remember when you had even Brendan McSweeney's EB Falcon. Now I can't remember the name. Jeff. I can't remember the guy who owns it now. He was actually a few down from me as well, but that was really cool having that car there. That Brendan McSweeney's EB Falcon actually held the record for a number of years, and it was pretty cool having that there. So yeah, it's nice having a mix of different vehicles there, and we'll talk about the mix of vehicles a bit later on as well. I must say, you've had some reasonable accolades over the years in terms of some of the awards and the recognition that all Ford Days received. But one of the ones, and I honestly didn't know this until I did my research, and Paul Lloyd, who couldn't make it tonight, he pointed this out to me actually as well. All Ford Day back in 2000, with Ford celebrating its 75th year here in Australia, they actually funded the All Ford Day to be bigger and better this year and promote Ford's 75th anniversary. I remember that show down in Rockingham. It was a magnificent day. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, it was probably one of my big favourites because Ford told us to just go out and really promote it. So we thought, well, the best way to promote it is to get a real high-powered dignitary. So we got Alan Moffat. Alan Moffat flew over to WA, and at the time I'd had the Phase 3 finished and being shown, so I had the privilege of picking him up at the airport and taking him to his hotel and then to the show the next day. So that was quite a privilege, and we that drew big crowds. He, of course, Alan has always got involved with signing all the glove box lids and posters. He was kept pretty busy during the day, and he helped us with some of the judging. So it was a great day. I think Ford did well, and of course it was right over the road from Challenger Ford.
Yeah. You weren't tempted to squeeze the old HO when you were taken into the airport? I'd be tempted to, eh?
Yeah. I think he was tired from the plane trip, so I didn't want to scare him.
Oh no, that's gold. When you said that, you told us that story before, and I thought, oh, that's magnificent. You know, imagine that, picking up Alan Moffat in an original concourse level HO that you built yourself.
Yes.
And took him to the airport. I mean, not many people can say that. So I think that's an amazing. That is an amazing thing an accolade, I guess, to have on the resume.
And I might just add there. So I thought, that's probably the last time I'll ever see Alan Moffat. But that same Phase 3, which I took to the Brisbane Nationals. When was it? 2007, I think.
Yeah.
I got
2001.
2001.
Yep.
Thinking. So I had surprised trophy of second place of the GTHO Phase 3. I think there was about 20 entrants, and I got second, which I was absolutely rapt, didn't expect that. And it was the Alan Moffat Trophy, and it was so supposedly his sponsored trophy. I thought, wow, here we go again.
Yeah. Talk about history repeating itself. That's a great story. Hey, on that note, we'll take a short break here, and we'll be back with Jan Becker talking all things All Ford Day right after the break. Okay, Talking Power Podcast, episode 116, and we're here with Jan Becker. Jan, thanks for joining us on the podcast. Well, we're here at your house, actually. We're joining you, I must say, and lovely abode. Your man cave up here is magnificent, I must say. Jan, hey, look, just tell us a bit. We've been talking all things All Ford Day. Explain some of the benefits Ford-related car clubs can gain from being part of the show.
So it's probably the one time that the clubs can really get their members out on the oval, bring out their paraphernalia, be available with they sit under their marquees, and they're available to talk to the general public for those that are kind of interested and might be joining a club or thinking about it. That's the time and the place to come. So they have that advantage of displaying and possibly getting new members for their club. So, that's why they enjoy it, and I think that's why they keep coming back. They love it.
Yeah. Well, just explain, I mean, from your point of view, how important is the preservation of the Ford motor vehicle, and more importantly, Ford Australia, in keeping the Australian-built Fords, not necessarily just all of the Australian-built Fords, but those that were imported to Australia as well. How important is the preservation of those vehicles in today's society?
I think it's become more important now as the classic. We all agree they were built, they're not completely handmade, but I think there was part of Australian history, the factory at Broadmeadows. Ford had so many workshops and agencies around Australia, were very prominent and active with the motor racing as well. So I think that's the Bathurst, of course, the Bathurst era, still going strong. So I think the whole combination of those events and everything, I think will have and always will keep it in people's mind. And so having preserved our cars, it's amazing. The All Ford Day, we'll still get a crowd of 10 or 12,000 people wanting to see their Fords again. So we must be doing something right. And there's new ways of presenting cars as well, bigger and better. So things can only improve, I think, in the future.
Yeah. One of the questions I actually haven't put on here, but I'll ask, it's a question without notice, I guess. Do you think since the closure of both, not the closure of producing Fords here in Australia, and also the complete closure of Holden in Australia, do you think that's brought, 20 years ago, you were either Ford or you were Holden, but do you think it's brought us together these days? Like, do you think you're getting a lot more Holden, people that would have gone to the GM Owners' Day? Do you think you're dragging in those sort of people as well now?
I have spoken to a few people who've said they've gone to both shows. I certainly haven't. but I think some people are between the two, and I think it's if you've got a love of a certain model, make and model, and more so now, I think, unfortunately with the COVID thing, restoration and buying old cars and wrecks, I might add, seems to have become more prominent now, because I think they've realised they're not in the wreckers. The wreckers don't have old classic bombs anymore, even something like a Falcon 500 is still worth its weight in gold. So it proves that point. But I'm not sure if GM they're probably pursuing it the same way. But I guess then also in relation to the modern cars, both Ford and GM, which don't always take as much. I'll have to say not quite as popular, because we all know they're just totally different. They're high powered and modern, and but people enjoy them just the same. But it all stems from our classics.
Yeah, that certainly does. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I've got to read from the list now because it's quite extensive. The event is not just a car show, is it? Jan, it's the All Ford Day raises much needed funds for many charities, and over the years, I'm just going to go through a list of charities All Ford Day has raised money for. So, Aussie Invader 5R land speed record holder, and can you remember what episode Roscoe McGlashan came on, Todd?
I can't, but I'm going to say shout out to Roscoe, because again I know he does listen and watch every now and then. So, and he'll probably be at the All Ford Day, I'm guessing, maybe.
I think he will be.
Yeah.
The last few.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there you go. Yep.
Anyway, so Aussie Invader 5R land speed record holder. Well, not yet, but we're hoping he gets there. Association for the Blind of WA. Sorry.
Can I mention something there, which is you'll find interesting, I hope. So, Association for the Blind. You think our committee has always, with charity, we've tried to, rather than give somebody a fat check, we've tried to say how can we get some feedback or some recognition, and what do you really need? So the Blind WA was approached by one of our committee members and came back and said, we can sponsor a dog. And it was a sizable amount, and so we did. And a few of us, including myself, had the privilege of going down to the Blind Association in, where is that, in Burswood, and seeing the dog. Now, you get naming rights. So we kicked the names around, the committee, what shall we nominate and call this dog? Forever hold his peace. And we came up with the one and only Ford. We couldn't call him Mustang, and we couldn't call him GT. So we're going to call him Ford.
Oh, how awesome is that?
There's a dog running around out there by the name of Ford. So we got to view the dog and his activities, how he's been trained. It was quite exciting. So the association follows up with reports, how he's doing. He was one of four puppies that they got from New Zealand, I think. So he had two sisters and brother. It was quite a good story. So they really promote it very well. You're not just throwing money at dogs. It's a very personal thing. So they're constantly updating us and telling us. And on the day, they came to the show with the dog and just displayed and showed him off. So, and he had a special blanket made, which was inscribed Ford with the Ford badge. So it was quite a turn on for a lot of us anyway. We felt it was money well spent.
It is. It certainly is. I like the sound of that.
No, that's brilliant. I've actually worked with a person that trained guide dogs, so it's actually good to hear from your side of the story as well. Like it's really good. So
it is a sizable investment.
Yeah.
Training a dog. Yeah. That's huge. A huge investment. Yeah. I noticed also Camp Quality on here. Duncraig Senior High School Bush Rangers, WA Cadets. Heart Kids WA, Manor Incorporated.
Manor, I can just jump in there.
Yeah,
another great thing. We thought Manor, they're a big organisation that feed the homeless, cook food, and they're very well organised. They have vehicles. They have vehicles that pick up from the markets, bring it back to these big kitchens that is sponsored. And we thought, now what could you use? We want to help sponsor. And they said we really need a new van of some sort, preferably a Ford Transit van. So we went to our good friends McAnany Ford, our major sponsor, and they gave us, I believe the story goes, there was only one only still available that would fit their requirements, Ford Transit van. which they gave us at a really cut price, and we presented that to Manor with, of course, the All 4 Day logo donated by the All 4 Day. So we felt, again, that was money well spent.
Yes, certainly. That is magnificent. Another one here, Noah's Ark, Princess Margaret Hospital, Royal Flying Doctor Service, St John's Volunteer First Aid Services, Sids and Kids WA, Smith Family Trust. Think this through, Todd. I'll print it on 2 pieces of paper. I have to flip it over.
I know.
Special Air Services Resource Trust, Variety Club of WA, and of course the volunteer firefighters as well. So they are some magnificent organisations. But the one I really want to talk about is this year. You mentioned it before, Warrior Racing, and I'm really excited to hear the work that you're doing with Warrior Racing. So All 4 Day this year is supporting Warrior Racing. Tell us a bit about Warrior Racing and exactly what they do. I know they're headed up, well, their driver, Grant Johnson, great WA boy as well. But tell us a bit about Warrior Racing.
They have 2 race cars which are going to be displayed on the day, and they're getting a display stand. But they're a very strong charitable organisation that support Australian Defence Force, serving members and veterans and their families. Mental health issues are a key focus area.
It's really important today, isn't it? I think, mental health and the work that the Australian Defence Force, or the retired service men and women that come back from the Australian Defence Force, their support is ongoing. The stuff that they are required to do during the line of duty, and then when they come back and retired, I think the support that Warrior Racing and All 4 Day are giving these organisations is magnificent. We're really looking forward to meeting with the guys from Warrior Racing as well on the day. I'm sure we'll have them in for a chat as well during the day, and have them on the podcast too, because they're running a improved production car as well. I think that'll be there on the day. It looks quite like a smart FG Falcon, that one.
Yeah, a very strong organisation, and the guy has come to our meetings and addressed us. He's going to promote us as well as we will them, and we'll try and help them out after the event in every way we can. Paul Lloyd had personal contact with these people from the beginning, so that was a great... these are the sort of things that we look for that are worthy of our attention and charity towards them.
Yeah, most certainly. I will take a short break there. We'll be back with more episode 116 with Jan Becker from All 4 Day right after this. Okay, episode 116 of the Talk and Power podcast, and I'm here with Todd Brinkworth, and we're at Jan Becker's place here, enjoying his man cave, and I must say it's a lovely abode you have here. Now, the show, let's get him back into All 4 Day. The show itself, over the years, I've been to nearly all of them since I was able to transport myself, because my mum and dad weren't really into cars, unfortunately, so I had to, once I got my licence, then I was able to go. But tell us, over the years there's been everything from Mark 1 Escorts to GT40s. Can you give us a rough idea of some of the rarest Fords that have been on display at All 4 Day over the year?
Of course, the most famous has always been the GT40. To the Mark 1 Escorts. We even at recent other shows we've seen these tremendous amount of rework and racing type Escorts, which are still the favourite. But the GT40, we're trying to track it down at the moment. We hope he's going to enter this in their current All 4 Day, but it's certainly something to see.
Yeah, I remember that GT. That was a beautiful car. That was back in 06. Was it? Did you do it in? Must have been 07 then when you had it.
Would be.
Yeah, it has to be in an odd number. So 07 or 05 perhaps as well. I can't remember, but I remember seeing it there. I've got a photo of it actually. And if you're watching the YouTube channel, I'll show you that photo. I'll put that up actually. That GT40 is a magnificent car.
And of course, I'm sure you're aware the what GT40 means, the 40 inch high.
Yeah.
Which is the prominent feature of the model.
They certainly are. Hey, Jan, tell us. I mean, we talk about the charities that you guys support, but talk us through some of the companies that support All Ford Day as well. And I mean, I know McInerney is a long. When you say All Ford Day, McInerney Ford comes straight into my mind. I know the two go hand in hand. And how important has their support been over the years?
Oh, absolutely. We've always, from the beginning, I think we tried to stick to one Ford dealership. Rather, you can't have all the Ford dealers on the oval, and now they've minimised as well. But McInerney's have been there from day one, as far as I know, and they sponsor us in a big way, and of course they always put up a big marquee, and they have the opportunity to present their newest model Fords, which is a big advantage to them. And I know every time they've come back to us with the words of they didn't actually come to the All Ford Day to sell, but strangely enough they signed up a number of people for the Fords that were on display. It's a perfect place to buy a Ford.
It is actually, but that makes a lot of sense to me, to be honest. It goes hand in hand. Yeah. Also, I mean, I know a lot of people like to walk around and look at the cars as well for All Ford Day, but tell us how important, like people like the vendors. I know some of the vendors there. We got Subaru Falcon Spares. I think it's Tony that runs.
Tony Devlin,
he's a great guy, Tony.
He's been with us from the beginning, and another very strong supporter. We have a very close association with Tony, and he loves it every time. He brings his people and he brings his truckload of spares. He does very well too. I think people get the chance, rather than go all the way out to Armadale, they can come to Bassendean and actually get bits off him.
It is, Tony's a great supporter. American West, and Shannon's Insurance as well. So I know a lot of people will take the time to also have a look at some of the vendors there, and there's some great companies to support there, aren't there?
Yeah, the regulars have stuck with us every time, and we appreciate that, and we give them value for money as well. With now with the media, with Facebook, with like yourself, radio stations, and wherever we can, we have a dedicated person in our club that responsible for Facebook, giving all the highlights and the updates, because I think that's where people go to get information and come to the show. Even though the posters and things, handouts are still available for the oldies like myself.
Yep. I like posters and handouts. I mean, I love having something you can walk away from the show, like paper, something printed. Jan, look, way back in 1984, I mean, the philosophy of All Ford Day has always been open to all Ford vehicles, powered by Ford, with a Ford driveline. That hasn't changed. That's been the staple of the show. Moving forward in the next 10 years, with this change in demographic that we're experiencing, what do you think will be the new look of the show moving forward in the next 10 to 20 years?
I'd like to think it would last the 10, especially when it's only every 2 years. But I realise we probably have to just keep coming up with some new ideas and move with the times. Maybe it's amalgamating with other venues and other things. There's a lot of things available to us, I think, to promote it in a different way, but not to let down the huge amount of classic car owners out there that enjoy this event to actually bring out. And I might add we always get a lot of the early models, like the Model T Fords and the early ones. You get quite a number of those, and they're getting pretty old now. But they come out to the show in amongst all our later ones, and just as popular.
Yeah. I have noticed, but over the years, like especially I went, obviously not for the cruise last year, but for the all-4 day 2 years ago, I noticed we're seeing more late model Mustangs, and I mean, given that the show is run in partnership with the Mustang Owners Car Club of Western Australia as well, that makes perfectly good sense to someone like me, and we're seeing an influx of those vehicles as well. So I guess the trend will be towards later model stuff. Dare I say, even Rangers as well. I think we're seeing a new trend towards the Ranger motor vehicle. Not really my cup of tea. That's okay. It doesn't need to be. But we may see it, a bit of a Ranger, even a Ranger car club startup, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised. You actually probably put the nail on the head. I might mention at the next meeting, but they haven't, I can't recall, but I noticed you only got to look on the road, the amount of accessories and the amount of weird and wonderful options and accessories available with the Ford Ranger. It would make a great display.
Yeah, most certainly. Hey, look, just to finish up, we'll run over the details of the show again. So, October 3, 2021, Steel Blue Oval, or better known as Bassendean Oval. Tickets, adults $10.
Adults $10, yep.
Children $5. That's under 15. And a family pass $20. You cannot beat that. For a spectator to go along, $20. It's a full day of entertainment. The family pass is 2 adults, 2 children for $20 there. And the opening hours are from 9:30 to 2:30. Entrance must be there in before 9 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And we look forward to more entrants going online, preferably online. We've sort of tried to do away with the manual paper entry form. We get a few in the post, which is with a check. But it would be preferred to go online and do it. It's very simple, especially with the apps and the websites now, and get in as soon as you can so we can get the numbers up. I might just say we need the numbers all 4 days, even though we have a constructed plan of the oval and where everything sits and sponsors. Everybody knows on the Saturday already where they'll be. Each club is marked out, so it's all pretty well set. But if we don't get the numbers early enough, we find a bit of confusion with it's been marked out for 20 cars for one club, and they either only bought half of them or they bought double, so then the whole thing has a big gap. So I've just noticed over the years there's always a couple of groups that we don't seem to get the numbers right. So the earlier you get in and it's in concrete, that's going to save everybody a lot of trouble and guarantees you guys a quick entry onto the oval in place, set down by 9 a.m. Without driving around looking for your spot.
I know we're going to be there as well. I cannot wait for it. We are organising a few vehicles and I've got some special ones lined up. So I'm just finalising the Torque and Power mix of some beautiful Fords, I must say.
News to me. There you go. Look at this.
I've got we've got some really special cars lined up as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that too.
Okay, so people can find further information at afd.asn.au or on the Facebook page. It's Facebook All Ford Day. We've got a good one there. And, head over to warriorracing.com.au as well and see the work that they're doing over there. That's a magnificent website. I got a lot of information from their website as well, and they're doing a magnificent job, the team at Warrior Racing.
Yeah. And please don't be confused with there's an AFD, simply called AFD, and it's the Eastern States. So a few of our entrants have gone that way without looking at the exact address. So
yeah. So it's afd.asn.au.
Yep.
ASN stands for Association, so I believe. I'm pretty sure that does, yeah. Sorry, Todd, you wanted to say
No, I'll
something?
take your word for it, Nick. I'll just take your word for it. It's
Okay.
all right. Yeah, well, no,
Sounds good.
you're the expert. No.
Jan, it's been a pleasure, I must say, to come here tonight and to do this podcast with you. It's a pleasure. I know you've been instrumental in the Falcon GT Car Club of Western Australia and many all Ford days. And from one Ford guy to another, thank you very much for having me along tonight. I know Simon really wanted to be here as well. He's a Ford guy, but yeah, he's just unfortunately tied up with the children tonight, so he wasn't able to make it.
Oh, that's important.
But I really appreciate you having us along here tonight and looking around at your man cave and all this memorabilia here is magnificent, I must say. So we really appreciate it. And once again, thanks, and thanks also to the entire committee as well. So
Yes.
Paul Lloyd, yourself, and Paul White as well. So we really appreciate it, and thanks for having us along for All Ford Day. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are looking forward to it. So
Yeah.
it'd be good to be there, and good to see some of the listeners there as well.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
And thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming and putting me through this. But I have to say I've enjoyed it. So.
Oh, that's good. No, that's good.
It's good to have a chat and a yarn and get all the bits and pieces out there, get the story out there. So
people out there find that it's
Yeah.
some interest.
Yeah, no, certainly. I'm sure they will. Okay, Jan, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks again.
thank you.
Take care.
Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.